This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is Richard Lloyd, the CEO of Minexia, who are the owner of the private investing platform NR. Thank you very much for joining us today, Richard. How are you?
Very well. Good afternoon.
Could you just first of all briefly explain what it is that Minexia do, particularly with regards to the private investing platform?
Yeah, sure. Winding back the clock, 2019, it'd been a few years in the making. Bunch of geologists, mining engineers, fund manager, and a couple of us that come out of the city got together, and we felt that the individual investor was kind of ignored to some extent. If I wanted to put 10 grand into a deal at the early stage as well, certainly pre-IPO or at IPO, I often only found out once the big boys had done their bit and on different terms. And the other side of the pipe, if you like, or the other end of the pipe, peers were CEOs of mining companies and are trying to raise that first £500,000 million is very, very difficult. So we thought, well, hang on, and it's been a liken to Airbnb and Uber. If a platform can put a car and a passenger together, why can't you put the investor and the issuer together as well? And that's how we started and have done, 30 deals now.
Okay. So it's almost giving the private investor that sort of first access, if you like, that opportunity to invest alongside what you might call the big boys who the brokers would deal with.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The classic case study was Richard Williams was kind enough to invite us into the Cornish Metals deal when they had their London listing over here, when they changed from Strongbow to Cornish Metals. Target raise was 5 million. We ended up at 8.5. And alongside Hannon Partners and SP Angel, we did the half, and they did the 8 with the big institutionals and our pension funds and BlackRock and Fidelity and such like.
Well, just casting my mind back to my earlier days of private investing, you would often see that, you'd put a few £100 and everyone has to start somewhere that might then hopefully get to a few £1,000. But for sure, it was always a little bit annoying when you would see a company that you held shares in for maybe quite a while, had done a raise, and you weren't asked. And you still see it today that shareholders can get a little bit miffed that they weren't asked. But I think the simple answer to that is brokers have a number of clients on their books. They know that they can go to X for X amount of money. They've got a limited time to fill that book. So really, the small guy is probably not their priority. But here at Minexia, this is what you want to really open the doors to, isn't it? I mean, how easy is it for people to get involved in this with your platform?
Very, very simple. Just go to www.nrprivatemarket.com, sign up. It's the usual KYC. So passport, driving license, utility bill. We send that through a verification check. At the same time, there is an understanding of the risks, the market risks, etc., and how you're going to be categorized as an investor. We are not seeders or Crowdcube, so the £100, £200 investment isn't what we're targeting. We have high net worth investors, sophisticated and self-certified sophisticated investors, such as you and I, and many of the Stockbox listeners and readers who are active in both listed stock and, I assume, would love to keep an eye on pre-IPO stuff and get in there early with the big boys, as we call them.
So you talk there about the pre-IPO stuff as well. I mean, what type of deals are you looking at? What opportunities could people be exposed to? And also the benefits to that, because of course there are benefits to being involved in an IPO, a pre-IPO, or indeed a placing, as opposed to buying shares on the secondary market.
Yeah, I mean, they get the same deal as as Evie Hambro would at BlackRock within reason. I mean, a half warrant is in a pre-IPO is not uncommon. Marula being an absolutely brilliant example. It was a raise at 2p. There was a half warrant at 4p. The stock went up to 15 or 16p recently. I think it's drifted down again a bit, but a lot of people are exercising those warrants. And through the platform, can, all the documents are embedded on the platform. You click and sign on a DocuSign type basis, date it, and your warrants exercise notice goes through to the registrar. So it's all very automated.
Okay, and you would have a mix of companies in pre-IPO, which of course are not currently on the exchange to trade, but also companies that are trading who want to raise. Is that right? So you've got a mix there of both opportunities. How would you assess each deal, and what are the how would you get people? What kind of sectors are you looking at, I suppose, is the question I want to know. Where is the opportunity and what's coming down the pipe for people who might be interested in signing up with you?
Yeah, I mean, NR originally, natural resources, we were all geologists, mining engineers. So the bulk of our deals have been in the natural resources sector. However, we, by luck, we could call it next raise or new raise. That's a bit of a fluke of a name. But live deals we've got at the moment is a pre-IPO with Anamite. Anamite Resources are going to list in the Australia Stock Exchange. They've got some copper gold cracking assets and exploration in Laos. That's not everyone's cup of tea, but is opening up, and some of the first movers into that we would hope would do quite well. We've also got Amazon Spring Water, which I guess the CEO there said, that's our most valuable natural resource. And that's a huge aquifer underneath the Brazilian rainforest, which they tap for 23 hours a day. And in that 24th hour, it replenishes itself. And that's Evian, but on speed sort of thing. That's a huge deal there. That will be listing here in London in early 2024. The platform has a benefit to being able to do that deal at 15p versus the standard pre-IPO price of 20. So this one's got a benefit to our investors as well. And then we have the lounge area, which I know two people that are speaking to you as well. Hydrogen, Future Energies, and Cobra Resources, who are listed. Hydrogen on Aquis, Cobra here in London on the standard list. And that's more a marketing and getting people aware of what they're doing. But Cobra have done 2 raises with us already, so it probably wouldn't come as a surprise. They'll be coming out with their begging bowl at some point.
Okay. And just to finish off, Richard, how's the future looking? I mean, what are your plans for Minexia and the platform? I know we want to work a bit closer with you to help tell the story or advertise, let's say, the opportunity that people could have with some of the opportunities that you're bringing to them. So what are the plans to grow this business from your point of view?
Well, the more investors we have, it's like the kitchen scales I've always described. My colleague, who's my technical director, always wants to put much more into the shop window, but you have to have the investors with the right size pockets and enough of them to balance those deals. And each deal gets bigger and bigger. So we started off doing deals and we're clearing 20, 30 grand. We've now done our first £1 million deal. And, the volumes go up with the readership, working with people like yourselves, and it adds both sides to that equation. And yes, just doing bigger and better deals for people and helping people along that track.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Richard Lloyd, the CEO of Minexia. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more. And again, if people want to find out more about the deals, it's the website. Just remind us of the website again.
Yeah, www.nrprivatemarket.com.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, Richard.
Thank you, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.